it is Heather from The Reading Mama, and today I'm going to try to convince you to read a book series that I cannot convince my kids to read. Not entirely true. My oldest did read it. So the series I have today is one of my favorite YA authors that I've mentioned a few times on here, Margaret Peterson Haddix. And I love her writing, but some of it is out there. Just a caveat. I haven't read all her books. Some of them are really wonky, okay? But I have enjoyed the ones I've read. And the one I have today is one that I read the first 2 books and then immediately bought the entire series because it was so good. This particular series is 8 books long, and it is a bridge of historical fiction and science fiction, and I absolutely love it. And like I said, there are 8 books. They're a bit lengthy. I think there's a few that are a bit more a little thicker, but they're not terrible. I would definitely say these are YA. You could maybe do older middle grade just because there's some intense things. And I'm going to try to tell you about this series without giving too much away because you really need to read them in order. You really need to read book 1 for the rest to make sense. But book 1 of the Missing series is called Found. And in this, you follow Jonah, who he knows he's an orphan and wants to know more about his birth family. And along the lines, he discovers a big kind of, let's call it a conspiracy. And in it, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how I can do this. In these, it says shady circumstances surrounding him and his friends' adoptions. Yeah, that is exact. There are some very shady circumstances surrounding their adoption. And through it, we get a little bit of time travel. And through this time travel, both past and future, you find out a lot of neat things. So book 1 is very unique, as in a lot of series, because you're setting up the whole series. And so you follow Jonah and Chip and kind of their background stories and some of what is going on, and you get into that conspiracy of what's going on with their adoptions. And then as you move on, you're going to follow more characters, but mostly Jonah and Chip. And you're going to go through some different historical time periods. And so in book 2, you have, you talk about the 2 boys who supposedly died in the tower in the stairs that were found. Book 3, what is this one? I don't even remember. They go further into it. So we're still following Jonah. Here we're going to Roanoke. And so the author has taken some of these historical things where there is very little information. Like we know that 2 young bodies were found in the stairs in the Tower of London. Were they the princes? Were they something else? What happened was there? All of that's a mystery. And so she took that and ran with it, with this story. Then there's the Roanoke. If you don't know, Roanoke is off the Virginia, and there was a colony there and they mysteriously just disappeared. So this takes that aspect. And then as you keep going, you go through some other historical time periods here. I believe, was this Vikings? Something like that. It was something on a ship in 1600s. Oh yeah, in the Hudson, they were searching for the Hudson Passage. Book 5 is Caught, and in this one we talk about Albert Einstein and his child. Then we continue on, and you have the Romanovs. That was one of my daughter's favorites, the oldest who did read it. And this one, Lindbergh Baby. And then in the culminating one, I don't know if we had a specific historical period. I think it was just kind of finishing off the series, but it was a phenomenal series. I highly recommend it. I did read all of these, I believe, as physical books. I don't know that I read audiobooks of any of them, but they were so wonderful, very fast paced. Like I said, there's some intense moments because you're not only going through historical time periods where there were insane events like murder and war and, ship catastrophes and things like that, and what happened with the Romanovs, and it's very intense in those moments, but also all the shadiness that goes around the adoptions, also very intense. So that's why I would say probably not the best for elementary school, but middle school and up, I highly recommend it. There was nothing, I don't remember really any swearing. If it was very mild. I feel like my daughter would have not read it. It had that. She's very sensitive to that. There wasn't really romance or anything like that. It's just a nice fast-paced historical fiction meets science fiction with all those mysteries and history, and we have really enjoyed it. But for whatever reason, I can't get my other kids to pick it up, even though they love historical fiction. I think the science fiction part is what scares them. But I really enjoyed it. The only science, there's time travel, like I said, and then it gets a little wonky with the time travel stuff. as all time travel books do, as you continue the story and the conspiracy behind it. But it is really phenomenal, and it was very well written, and I highly, highly recommend the Missing series from Margaret Peterson Haddix. And I'll try to bring some more of her books on here and share about it, because I have loved many of her series and duologies. So if you have a favorite science fiction for YA or middle grade, let me know, because I really am trying to branch out and read a little bit more science fiction in those ages, but I feel like they're harder to come by. So drop your favorites below, and thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day.